So, first of all, I want to start with a riddle, okay? Be honest, I actually need a response from you, okay? So, a son and a father is in a car. They're traveling down a highway, and then smash, head-on collision, truck. The father is instantly killed. The son gets taken to the hospital, rushed into the trauma room. The surgeon runs into the room. I can't operate. He's my son. Why couldn't the surgeon operate? Or who was the surgeon? His mother. Perfect. Say that again? His other dad. His other dad. That's actually interesting. Interestingly, 9 out of 10 people go to his other dad, his grandfather, his uncle. They automatically go to a male figure of, for some reason, well, I know the reason, we see men as of importance, or we see them in a place of power, or whatever it may be. And I really want us to engage with that and look at why exactly is that we're automatically programmed and socialized in that way. So I just want to do a quick poll, okay? So hands up if you are a man or identify as a man. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, whilst I'm talking, you can put your hands down now. Whilst I'm talking to all of you, I'm calling out you guys, okay? Whilst I totally acknowledge that this is a TEDxRoyalTunbridgeWellsWomen event and that this is a specific space for that, I'm specifically speaking to you men because that's what the topic is. Feminism, men, young boys, okay? So, I'm going to constantly be looking down to remind myself. I was introduced as a black feminist, a specific distinction. It's not because I'm a feminist and I'm black. It's because there's a specific distinction, black feminist, which was coined by Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989, which looks at the different ways in which you experience inequality. It looks at sexism. It looks at class oppression. It looks at gender identity, and it looks at racism. The way in which those different things intersect is really vital. Because your experience as a feminist isn't just, I'm a feminist and I believe in equality and that's it. For some people, it's I'm a feminist and I happen to be from a certain part of the world where women are treated a certain way. Or I'm a feminist and I'm transgender, so there's this gender identity thing going on. Or a certain social oppression or status. Or I'm a black feminist and I'm a man. Am I allowed to be a feminist? I had that great discussion 2 days ago with my mother-in-law. Can I be a feminist? So I really want you to think about the different ways in how that looks, and specifically for young boys and young men, feminism, or for everyone really, is this naughty word. I'm not a feminist. I don't want to know what that is. It's this thing, the new F word. But really it's just looking at, is there an inequality? Is that what we want? And who privileges and who benefits from this inequality? Section 3, I should have said this is in 7 sections. Section 3 entitled James Brown, Uncle Ben, and Sign Up. So in section 3, first of all, we look at James Brown, who sang the very famous song, I'm not going to sing, This is a Man's World, okay? Now, we can argue that till the cows come home, but it's not. There's certain privileges and convenient structures in place to have men be privileged, to have them be in power. The fact that Theresa May is a prime minister shouldn't be a big deal in 2016, but it is, despite your political affiliation. But it is. We look at the different ways in which power plays out. And as a man, I acknowledge that I have privilege. I was just born with it. So we then go on to Uncle Ben. Those of you who are interested in Marvel, Spider-Man, Uncle Ben said to Spider-Man before he died, with great privilege or with great power comes great responsibility. Okay? Now, whilst it might be this Marvel quote and it's a bit of a joke, it's serious. As a man in privilege, what am I doing with my responsibility? Am I just going to go through life and do that thing on the train, for those of you who have been to London, where like we kind of sit like this, and then there's some woman sitting like this next to us, and we just kind of spread out and do the man spread thing? Or am I going to do that thing where I go toilet and I leave it up, and whether I wipe or not, the seat is another thing, and we just leave it because everyone sits with the toilet seat, pees with the toilet seat up? What am I doing with my privilege? Or am I going to come to a TED event and talk to you lot about what you're doing with your lives, how you're speaking to your young boys and young girls, and where you stand in that privilege and inequality? Third part is sign up. I used to work in gyms, kind of still do, but not so much. So when you go to a gym, you sign up, right? It's usually 3 months or 6 months or 12 months or whatever it might be. but you make a conscious choice to go to that gym and you sign up and you then say, I'm a member of Fitness First or LA Fitness or whatever your thing is, Nuffield Health. And you do that with a certain goal in mind, but you make that choice. Were any of you born and you signed up to the gender or the inequality that you have now? No one. You just live that way. With me being a man, I just live that way. I think that's how it should be because it always has been that way. Some people have challenged it, some people haven't. But I didn't sign up to that. I'm just kind of walking along, picking up privilege and dropping stuff that I don't like. But at the same time, as a black man, I'm getting all this other stuff that I don't necessarily want as well. And then as a woman of color, they're getting all this stuff that they don't want. It really does intersect, which is why I say black feminism as a distinction. It's not to the exclusion of others. It's because there's a different consideration that needs to be applied when you look at me as opposed to someone else. Section 4. Tekken. I know one person knows. Does anyone else know what Tekken is? Yes, people know. Okay, cool. So Tekken is a game, right? It was on PlayStation. It was a fighting game designed in Japan. It's all about fighting and so forth. But if you just look at games in general, Tekken is just what I went to. So the characters in Tekken, right, if you've seen it, they all 12 characters do this. And then like you scroll through the thing and it goes quick, and then they die. And if it's a man or it's a woman, they're doing this. If they're tall or they're short, if they're black or they're white, if they're whatever their gender is or sexuality, and every now and again they'll do this. And then we pick that character. I know for me, I picked, so when Tekken 2 or 3 came out, it was the first time there was a black guy, Eddie Gordo. I was like, yes, my people are represented in Tekken. And so I always picked Eddie, despite he couldn't fight for beans, right? I always picked Eddie because for representation as a young man, I was always like, yeah, I want to see me out there. My sister would always pick, I forgot her name. No, Sonya Blade's Mortal Kombat. Anyway, she'd pick someone else, right? But it's all about, well, why do we do that? I think what I assert is we live life like Tekken. We are born and we just pick this character that we want to do or be or fight for that day or that year or whatever. But life isn't Tekken, life isn't a game. But we're not aware of the fact that all of these things are the same. We're all giving our daughters pink baby girls, and we're all giving our sons blue baby girls, and we're all asking our 5-year-old daughters, which I intentionally don't ask mine, which girl is your best friend and which boy do you like? Why are we presuming that? And we don't look at our son and we say, yeah, you're going to be a Beckham one day, or you're going to be a Pele. Why? Your son might have no interest whatsoever in football. But we conform to this way of being as though we're making a choice. We're just born into it. And this is what I truly believe we need to teach our young boys, our sons, our brothers, our uncles, our granddads, no matter what age it is. If you truly believe it, if you're aware of this binary that we've stepped into and inherited from a society. Section 5, daddy issues. Let me tell you, as a young black man, there is a stigma that black fathers are absent. It is not true. Fathers in general are sometimes absent, and fathers in general are sometimes not absent. Mothers in general are sometimes not absent. But if a mum's absent, it's seen as, oh my gosh, she does not love her child. How could she? I could never do that. But it's a father, it's like, well, you know, that's what you expect. Of course, he didn't carry her, or he didn't carry him. And there's this thing that we do with our men, whether it be as a young boy, as a father, as an employee, or whatever. But we accept this way of behaving and this way to conform. And we're like, yeah, well, it's okay. No one challenges that. But what I would say about that is, despite what I've just said, my father was not around, but that's not the point. My mum raised me. I was raised in a women-only household, more or less, apart from my cousins and my siblings. And so I was raised through the lens of feminism. I didn't know that at the time. I was just like, well, of course my mum's the breadwinner. Who else is going to be the breadwinner? But what that was doing was that was setting me up for equality in every single way. A woman can do this, a woman fixes the door handle, a woman can get paid X amount, a woman can do whatever it may be. And what I think is really important is to speak to young men, speak to boys, speak to babies, and think about, what do we say when we say man up? One of my colleagues said to me the other day, my friend told her 2-year-old to man up. What does that look like? If I'm making a cake, we watched Bake Off, or some of us. If I'm making a cake, I'm going to put in flour, vanilla extract, chocolate, baking soda, whatever it may be, and we make a cake. How do you make a man? Am I a man because of my anatomy and my gender? Am I a man because of a structure in society? What does that look like? One of the things I do is I volunteer for Great Men UK, and we go into schools and we speak to these young men. What does gay look like? Can this person be transgender? Can this person be asexual? Can this person be a feminist? What is a feminist? What's a black feminist? Etc., etc., etc. And I, again, calling you men out. It's with us. Yes, I know it's a women's space, but feminism and equality is not a woman's issue. It's a human rights issue because it impacts us. Not in the same way, but it does impact us. And we're all accountable for addressing that on every single level. Totally went off on a tangent there. Section 6. Sorry, very passionate. Section 6. There's a TED Talk, a great TED Talk by Tony Porter. I believe it was in Chicago. You can Google it. It's called The Man Box. Now, within that, he discusses a man box. Let's just say this red carpet is my man box. This is a parameter in which being a man lives. So, don't cry, feel nothing, man box. Outside of man box, there's no more stage, right? So just bear with me. Outside of man box is talk to your friends about your emotions. Speak about how your day was. What are we going to do with one another today? How do you feel? And then within the man box, it's like, well, you shouldn't let her leave the house dressed like that. And then outside of the man box is ask her how it feels when guys catcall you or squeeze your bum in the club or whatever. And there's different things of which being a man looks like and it's prescribed to. I would give a counter argument, whilst I support that one, is I would call it a cage. So does anyone know the leading cause in death of men between the ages of 18 to 30 years old? Suicide. Why do you think that is? We don't talk. We are in our cage. We're like, I want to be free, I want to be free, I want to be free. And then someone comes to help us and we're like, I'm good. And that's crazy. We don't talk about things, whether it be communication, whether it be interacting with males or females, whatever it is. I don't have the answer. I just know that my brothers of all creeds between 18 and 30 are dying because they're killing themselves. Not because of boy races or drugs or fights or knife crime or whatever it may be. It's because they're killing themselves. Dying is more of a way out than dealing with whatever that issue is, or looking for the root of that issue. And that's really what I'm passionate about. Lucy gave for those of you who are here, when Lucy did her amazing talk about schools and sex education and stuff like that, her quote, if you remember, was 60% of girls aged between 13 and 21 have experienced sexual harassment in schools or college. 60% of girls between the ages of 13 to 21. Whether that was at the hands of a man or not isn't the issue. The fact that that percentage, that mass of girls between that vast range of age experience that says that we have an issue. We have an issue with consent. We have an issue about what's appropriate for boys to do and how to behave. We have a serious issue about reporting certain things and the structures that are put in place to have that not be okay and then challenging that. The fact that, again, like Lucy said, how SRE is designed and what we talk about, talking about pregnancy and STIs isn't enough. We need to talk about the emotional impact. We need to talk about their mental impact. And as men, we need to talk to our boys and our brothers and sisters and so forth and whatever it may be about who are you in the face of that inequality? Where do you stand with that? Are you someone that makes rape jokes and has banter with the lads, but then at home you're really respectful with your mum? Because that's not okay. That's just perpetuating the same thing that has those statistics be the way that they are. And the seventh point, which yesterday I forgot again, is freedom and joint liberation. Being someone that was raised by a black lesbian feminist, I have known no other world than one of trying to achieve equality, which is really tiring to do. On my bio that I have on the website that the TED team beautifully put together, it says 353 days a year, whatever days a year, I'm a black feminist, the other 12 is for recovery. Because what, yeah, it's funny, right? But it's needed, it's really needed. Women fighting, frontline work, charity work, constantly, every day, putting their lives and their freedoms literally on the street to get change is tiring. It is, people died trying to achieve this. We heard earlier, yes, we have the right for women to vote, and yes, we have apartheid and all of those things. But that's great, and that happened. But there are still things that are happening now. And it can't solely be achieved by the women fighting for the women. Meanwhile, us men are just like 50K a year, yeah. You're my colleague, but you're getting 30K. That doesn't work. That's not humanity like we've spoken about. That's not cohesive, and that isn't freedom. You should be however you choose to be without judgment or consideration for another. I will end by saying it's most definitely time. Not isn't it about time, it is time for us all, and men, to do something out in the world. Don't just clap after this and think that was great, or isn't he amazing, or doesn't he suck, or whatever it may be, and then do nothing. Go on Facebook, look at these charities, look and see what it is, if it makes a difference to you. Because it's not just about us, it is about our grandparents that are in the care homes not getting whatever they need because of that inequality. It is about our children and our grandchildren that will inherit the crap that we've done or didn't do to challenge it. So I really want you to take this as a physical thing to do out in the world. I really appreciate you lot listening to me, and there's one thing that I'll end on that I heard that I truly believe in, and I just want you to sit with and resonate. That my liberation as a man is tied up with your liberation as a woman. Thank you so much.